So we're at our school and we're beginning to grill slowly, and we're going to make a grill and chill video.
But mostly just eating because it's super late today.
Yeah, it is super late.
But yeah, talking
About pride and about LGBT topics and about coming out and all that fancy stuff, since it's Pride Month. So
yeah.
Hopefully that'll be fine. We have finally put stuff on the grill now, and it's grilling. Grill stuff.
Is that what you want to talk about?
No, because I'm not very good at grilling.
How's it going, Grill Master?
So well. No, it's just because since it's Pride Month and everything, we thought that it might be nice to talk about LGBT related subjects and about our stories, our own stories. If you guys haven't figured out by now, I think I've mentioned it a couple of times, I am extremely lesbian. Victoria's bisexual. But we have very different stories about like figuring out our queerness and coming out. And I mean, I think my route was a bit more complicated, or not necessarily complicated, but more, I think that was underway for many years, and you don't have that much of a coming out story, which is also really fascinating. And I think that's really nice to hear a story like that too, because it gives a different sort of perspective, and I think that both stories are very valid. Yeah. My story. Well, I didn't know I was gay for the longest time. When I was a kid, I always imagined that I would end up with a husband, and I would end up with kids, and I would have a house and a picket fence, and I would have a job. And as long as I could find a guy who loved me, then everything else didn't matter. And then hormones started kicking in. Actually, I remember I needed to research an image for Criminal Minds, the TV series, because both me and my mom loved it, and I wanted to draw a drawing of the characters for her for her birthday. And I stumbled upon a photo manipulated picture of the two female main characters, like in a romantic setting.
When was this?
Kissing. I was 13, 14, and I was like, ew, no. And I turned away, and I was like, oh, why would you do that? And then later on, I went back and I searched for the same thing, and I found the same picture, and it had a quote in the bottom, and I took the writing and I Google searched it, and I found a fan fiction of the two characters. And since then I got extremely fascinated by what it meant, and like about the whole thing with two women together, and I can't believe that you could do that, and like it seemed to open up a sort of world. And that's about the same time that my sister introduced me to the L Word and was like, yo, I found this series. It has a lot of drama in it. I love it. Want to watch it with me? And I got more addicted to it than she did, I think, in the end. But even though I was extremely fascinated by it, I didn't think that made me gay. I was like, I still like boys. I'm still gonna end up with a guy. I was really in denial for a lot of years. I toyed around with the label bisexuality for the longest time, and called myself bisexual for the longest time, because it would allow me to be interested in girls and wanting to date girls without actually the commitment of being a full-blown lesbian. But I wasn't really interested in boys. I was more interested in the idea of boys, if that makes sense. It it was always the girls I was interested in, and whenever I had been interested in a boy, it was more forced than anything else. It was like, okay, I need to have a crush on a guy. Who do I think is cute? And I picked the boys from that. And then when I went to 10th grade, I cut my hair for the first time. Still very feminine, mainly wearing long dresses and stuff like that. And I slowly started venturing out. I had a date in 9th grade or 8th grade with a girl and had a really awkward conversation with my family at the lunch table about bisexuality and trying stuff out and being curious about the same gender. And went on a date with this girl, and she turned out to be an awful person, and that didn't go anywhere. And we have like a 1-year boarding school thingy for the 10th grade where I went, and I had like hopeless crushes on straight girls there. And I was under the impression that, of course, if you have a crush on somebody, there's a chance that they might have a crush back on you. I didn't understand the whole reality of when you're gay, it means that 90% of the rest of the population is still gonna be straight. And I toyed around with the label of actually being gay for a while. And I had these hopeless crushes that of course ended up crashing and burning and hitting me in the face and leaving me heartbroken, because that's just how straight girl crushes go. And tried kissing a boy, making out with a boy, and thinking that was incredibly boring. Trying flirting and having a thing going with a guy in Berlin for a week.
But you tried hard.
I tried so hard, and it just bit me in the ass every time. And through high school it was very much the same. And then I had a long struggle with myself, like, am I gay? Am I not gay? Is it just a phase? And I had a lot of shame. I had so much shame involved in it, and it was like, I loved watching lesbian movies, and I loved, because I didn't know anybody who was gay. I didn't know anybody who was lesbian. I didn't have anything to go from. So I would watch all these movies and television shows with lesbians and be like really involved in that instead. But at the same time feeling so guilty about it. I needed to like have headphones in and have the volume turned down and be away from a window in order to watch anything with an okay conscience. And that was just killing me too, that I would feel this massive shame. And I tried dating a tiny bit, went on a few first dates with some girls, didn't go anywhere. And I just had a really low standard, because I was like, if you're a girl who likes girl, I will go on a date with you, because I don't know anybody who likes girls. And then I found out that if you do that thing, then your standard becomes so low that you can't really, it's not enough for somebody else to like me. I need to like them too. And it's not enough for me to like them. They need to like me too. And finding that balance has been difficult. It's like, just because I'm gay doesn't mean I like every single girl in the world, And I came out to my class. I made like a big fuss about making a sculpture thingy installation with some spray paint, and we had to do presentations of all our projects. And when we came to my project, I stood up and said, this is my experience of being in the closet. And that way I came out to my whole class and my teachers doing a school presentation. And I went online and I bought like a dog tag with a rainbow on it, and I wore it almost every single day to school. Just to remind myself that it was okay to have come out and to remind myself that I was just as valid as everybody else, because I just felt so stupid, feeling so ashamed of myself all the time. And then I found the most amazing girl ever, and I asked her out after trying to flirt with her mercilessly for months without her noticing at all. And I was lucky enough that after maybe, she turned the maybe to a yes. And we're still together. And I'm really, really happy about that.
Yeah.
So that's my coming out story. Yeah. People don't really react to it. It's really, it's
I know.
yeah.
Very anticlimactic and
It is so anticlimactic coming out,
So
because it's
disappointing.
just like I'm cheering my heart out, and they're just like, okay, what's for dinner? You know?
I guess most of them already kind of knew, maybe. They
Maybe.
could read it.
Some of them suspected for sure.
Are you still feeling shame about who you are? Who you are attracted to?
Sometimes I get worried, especially meeting new people, about my look and my gender identity. I do feel like I'm going so much out of the norm that I want to make sure that I'm leading with a good impression and not a bad impression. And that's really important to me. But feeling ashamed of being gay, I'm worried sometimes. I'm worried that someday we'll meet discrimination. And I'm worried about other people's reaction and new people's reaction. I'm not ashamed. I'm cautious to some degree. But I mean, every single day, me and Viktoria walk down the street holding hands and kissing and practically making out in broad daylight. So saying I'm ashamed is also a bit like...
Maybe the gayness overshadows the...
That's the thing, the gayness overshadows the... I think it was tougher being gay and being alone. I think it was tougher being gay and being alone than it is being gay and being in a relationship, because you have that other partner that you love and who loves you, and in the end that's the only thing that really matters. Yeah.
Look at that beautiful sky.
It's becoming night,
Yeah.
but we still haven't heard Victoria's story.
So now I'm in the interview chair, I guess, with a spotlight.
Okay.
No.
So, when did you first suspect that you might be queer?
Oh wow.